And I'm live. That is pretty cool. Today is 7th of October 2025, Tuesday, and let's just start solving questions. 1600 rated questions, and today, for real, we will do at least 4 questions at 1600 rating. So let's simply just begin solving the questions. And yeah, I don't know, something is happening, and see, I cannot go to some websites. I don't know why that is happening. This just, yeah, this is all I get. And from here also, CP algorithms, this is all I get. Wait, Excalibur is working, but these other sites are down due to some reason. YouTube is working, and Food Forces is also working. YouTube is working, Food Forces is also working. I don't know. Other sites are not working somehow. I don't know why. And first question for the day. Sending a sequence over the network. This might be a graph question. Just saying. Right. And with that, let's begin. Yep. Let's begin as in like begin. Okay. You mix it. Attach TCP. Okay. Cool. And go to the 1600 folder. Start new Vim. And all right. First question for the day. And we begin. Cool. Spill some water. Okay. Hello. And you don't have to call me sir. We are like, that is completely fine. Yeah. And let's solve questions together. This is the question that we are solving right now. This is a hard question, 1600 rating. And let's see. And the target is going to be 40 minutes. Let's see how much time it actually takes. 40 minutes, complete focus for one question, and at least we will do 4 questions. That is this one, this one, this one, and this one. At least we like, yeah, that is the target. And each question should not take more than about 40 minutes. And with that, let's begin. The sequence A is sent over this network as follows. Sequence A is split into segments. Each element of the sequence belongs to exactly each element of the sequence belongs to exactly one segment. Okay, each segment is a group of consecutive elements of a sequence. For each segment, its length is written onto it, either to the left or to the right of it. The subsequent sequence is sent over to B. For example, we need to send the sequence this. Suppose it was split into the segments 1, 2, 3, 1, and this. Then we could have following sequences. B could receive this 1, 1, 3, 3 things, and then, but okay, the length could be anywhere in the sequence, right? Length for A could be here, or before, or for 3 could be here. Okay. Okay, shit. If the length was just like at the start, then this question was, yeah, we have done a question like this. But here, the difference between this one and the one we did earlier is that here the length is variable. Length can be anywhere before the sequence or after the sequence. It is not fixed. If a different segment has been used, the sent sequence might have been different. The sequence B is given. Could the sequence B be sent over the network? In other words, is there such a sequence A that converting A to send it over the network could result in sequence B? And we have been given B, and we have to say yes or no. We don't even have to find out the things. We just have to see yes or no. Okay. Here, this is the length, and these are the 5 numbers. Here, is the answer no. Yes, answer is no for this. And here the answer is yes. Here the answer is 4. 4, yes. And here the answer is no. This is dynamic programming, but this is a bit different. What are the limitations? Okay, n can be very big. N can be very big. And the limitations, this is a bit more complicated than the normal dynamic programming approach. And normally, we would say when we are at a number, if the sequences were, let's say, at the start of the number, then we would say either this number, this current number, is a part of a sequence, or this is the length of a sequence. Here, this 4 is a length of the sequence, and this all of these 4 numbers are part of the sequence, and then this 4 again is the length of a sequence, and these 4 numbers are part of a sequence. But that, or we could have these 2 numbers as part of a sequence, and this, no, that's fine. That won't work. So what would our state be like? The current number can be like 4 things. The current number that we have, it can be 4 things. Like if we are here, this number could be a length, or this number could be a length for some sequence that is to the right, or for some sequence that is to the left, or this number could be a part of a sequence. And does the length depend, like where the length is written for this sequence? The length for this sequence could be written on the right or could be written on the left. Can we do this? We will suppose that all the lengths are written towards the right side, like here. And using this, we will be able to eliminate all the sequences and length pairs which have their length written on the right. And whatever is left would be the sequences which have their length written to the left and the sequence on the right. And if that thing like is legit, then it is cool. Then we would be able to find the answer. So like we will be going right, and whenever we see that this current something is making a sequence, then we will remove it. And we will go here, here, nope, no sequence, nope, no sequence, nope, no sequence. Yes, a sequence. So we will remove this. And that is, no, we won't. Yes, we will. We will remove this, and that is not very good. Wait, we can remove this. We can remove this. Shit, yes, we. Now, what if this is part of the length? If this is a length and we do remove this, then yeah, everything is messed up. Okay, we have to ponder and think what could be the actual answer. And is am I? Yes, I am audible. That is good. Here, this is length. We have length and we have the sequences. Okay, whatever the number is on the leftmost side, that number is either a length or a part of a sequence. In this case, okay, let's say the right number is either a part of a sequence or a length. Yep, those are the only possibilities, and numbers cannot be zero. Numbers are not equal to zero. So this number is either a sequence or a length. And okay, we can treat this number as a sequence or a length. If this number is a length, then the next two will be removed and we will ask the same question for this. But this could also be a part of a sequence. And if this is a part of the sequence, then the length of which sequence this number is a part of must be on the left. Yep. No, no, that will also not work. This is a cool question. The variables are just too much. Yeah. The degree of freedom here is a bit too much. If the length was like on just a singular side, shit, hello, it's a spammer. My name is just my channel's name, Jatin Raghav. Yes, his channel's name. You are not good giving virtual. Nope, I am not giving because giving virtual contests on stream, I don't think is very useful for me, right? Because I am using Excalidraw during a virtual contest, and no, while I'm actually giving a contest, I use paper and pen to write things down. So giving a virtual contest online is not a very good practice session. So I will be giving virtual contests offline, and that is nice. VC. And this question is kind of crazy. Do you see this question? This is kind of a good question. It is in the chat here. So VC as in virtual contest. Okay. Just the degree of freedom here is a bit too much. Okay, let's go step by step. Whenever we see a sequence like this, let's go from one side. For a number, let's say this. For a number like this, the rightmost number is either a sequence or a part of a sequence. If this or a length of a sequence, if this number is a length of a sequence, then this much is gone, and we will ask the same question for this, for all of this. Okay, that is one possibility. But if this number is a part of a sequence, then we will go to the left and we will see, is this number making a sequence onto the right, or no, here this is not. Is this number, can this number act as a length for a sequence on the right? Yes, this number can act as a length for a sequence on the right. So we do have a legit sequence here, but there might be, let's say, some big number like 4 here, which is the actual length, and all of this would be a sequence. Then I guess we just have to go down the length of the string. Uh, our strings are also big. N is 10 power 5. We cannot go n square. Greedy, no. Okay. When we are treating this current number as a length, then everything is happy. But okay, when we are treating this number as a length, this thing has to be the sequence. This whole sequence has to be a sequence. And we are asking, is this legit? Just, yeah, is this legit or not? But when we are treating this as part of a sequence, this can be a possible length. This number can also be a possible length because 3, 3, and this number can also be a possible length. So we will see for all of these numbers, like if we do go with this as the length, then is this a legit sequence? And if we go with this as a possible length, then is this a legit sequence? And if we go with this as a possible length, then is this a legit sequence? And I think this should work. But the problem is our state. Our state would be like function Fij, where I and j are indices which represent a subsequence, and this will say true or false if the sequence I plus 1 dot 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 till aj, that is aj, till aj, if this string is a like correct sequence, maybe we can reduce the state. You just have to solve the problem. It is just virtual contest, not actual contest. No, I want to practice as if I'm giving an actual contest, because in actual contests, I, I think people get anxious, and that is the main reason they are unable to solve more difficult problems. So I want to get more used to the uh, state of giving a contest. It should be like more natural, not as if I'm doing something different or crazy. I cannot solve more than 2 in any contest. Cannot make a fully working solution. It doesn't work in some cases, and I'm not able to correct it. Okay, so this might be, think about, since you are able to think about these problems which are rated 1600, right? So it might be the case that you are just unable to think about the solution in the state of giving a contest, because giving contests is stressful. It is like, it is not like this, like we are solving questions right now carefree. So I would also suggest you should also give virtual contests to get used to the state of giving contests, and like have a calm mindset while giving contests. Yeah, I think, yeah, that will be the case, because most of these questions you would be able to solve them if they were not in a contest, right? If you were thinking about them with a calm mind, yeah, we just have to get used to thinking about contests. And here, I think we can reduce the state because whenever we are asking the question of whether a substring is legit or not, this I is always starting from the first index. And yeah, this I is always just starting from the first index, and J is the only thing that is changing, and that is very cool. I think we got this. So our dynamic function would look like fi, where we are asking is the substring a0 to I inclusive. Is this like legit or not? Is it working or not? And yeah, that is kind of cool. How do we begin? Can we write a tabular representation for this? We'll say first one, uh, let's make a table for this uh, in array representation form. Here, this is very bad. Wait. Okay, cool. Here we have 4. This is like, nope, not working. Then 6, also not working. We will first fill this manually and then we will see how the current state depends on the last state. 2, yes, 2 is legit because we can treat this 2 as a length and this is legit. 1, and not just 1, this whole thing. So if we treat this one as a sequence length, then we need to ask, is this thing correct? Nope, this thing is not a legit sequence, false. And if this, yeah, but what if, yeah, this is not, but what if 1 is part of a sequence on the left? Yes. What if 1 is a part of a sequence whose length is on the left side? Okay, let's first just fill this manually and then we will see how the states are depending on each other. Here answer is false. Here answer is true because 1 can act as length and this one can act as a sequence. And here false. I don't see a working configuration in this. And here also it seems false. Here in this much. Yep, seems like false. Yes. And for all of these on the left, these 4 false. And this is true. Okay, cool. Now we have to see how things depend. Hello. Make sure to take input as a string in problem B of yesterday's contest. Okay. Okay, I will keep that in mind. I wasted 15 minutes figuring out what is wrong because I was taking input as an integer. Okay, that can happen. Can you show me how you solved 1200 rated problem 23? Okay, in CP31 sheet. I wasted many hours figuring out why code was not working. So I used a vector of 18,000 something size and making the vector 2 of each string of length 1 or 2, or because we need to check at max only 3. Let me see the question. I used a bool vector and today I changed it to int and it worked. 1200 rated. Question number 23. Let's see. CP31. Question 23. This one. Let's see. Yeah. Typical code forces not working. Es funktioniert nicht. 23. How much time did I took? 28 minutes. That is long. Question 23. Is code force like even working? Bruh. Bruh. Code force is not working. Wait. Is my stream working? Yes, the stream is working. And I did see your, yeah, like yesterday's performance, and I think your rating decreased. And yes, I was talking you as a fellow competitor in competitive programming. Yeah, it just means you have to solve more questions and you will get better. Don't worry if you just keep at it. And also, one more thing, that you do not have to give all the contests which are out there. Like for now, I think I should solve a lot more higher rated problems and then give a contest instead of just jumping onto giving a contest unprepared. That would be better. It is no surprise Fischl speaks with a strange choice of words. However, this time, not even pose her. You are given a string of n lowercase Latin letters. The word fish, the word that fish spoke. You think that mix of this string may help you find the meaning behind the message. The mix of the string is defined as the shortest string that doesn't appear as a contiguous subsequence in the input. If the mix exists, the lexicographically smallest one is considered the mix. If multiple strings exist, the lexicographically smallest one is considered the mix. Note that the empty string does not count as a mix. The mix of a string is defined as the shortest string that does not appear. Okay, a string A is lexicographically smaller than B if, okay, a string A is substring of B. Find out what the mix of the string is. How do you define mix? B, A, C. So we have AA, AB. We do not have AC. Yes, we do not have AC. So we take N is 1000. N is 1000. And I think we can just brute force here. N is 1000. And we can just search. Brute force and search. Wrong answer, accepted. Let's see. 1200. Start. Delete everything. And N. C and N. And I hope this is the question that you were asking about. Like, and here, because n is not very big and there is only so much iterations of strings you can have, like for example when you have a string of one length, there are 26 possibilities, and when you have a string of length 2, there are 26 into 26. What is that number? Okay, let me calculate. 625 plus 25 is 650 plus 26, 676. 676 possibilities. And when you have 3, then there are going to be 676 into 26 possibilities, and that is not much. So you can see, start iterating from the smallest one digit, one letter possibilities, then all the 2 length possibilities and all the 3 length possibilities, and see the first one which does not appear. What you did. Okay, I must have done that. Taken n, taken s, then array 26 cnt for, okay, I am making a static array size 26 and count. Okay, for s, I get the count of each of the letters. Okay, char c equals -1, -1. Okay, here I am c equals I plus a, break. If c is not equal to -1, c out c. Okay, in this part I'm checking if there is a sequence of just one character which does not appear. Then else, if I didn't saw that, then strings answer 2. While true, if s dot find variant, okay, in s find answer, and initially answer is of length 2, and both of those things are a. So initially answer is a, and while true, find answer is answer there if answer is variant no pose. What is variant no pose? Shit, I forgot. Variant no pose must be checking if it does exist, and if answer is there, then break and output answer. Otherwise, p equals answer dot size, because at some point I increase the size and make answer of length 3, while p minus minus greater than equal to 0 and answer p equals z. Okay, we are iterating from the left, from the right end a, right, if p, while p greater than equal to 0 and answer p. So z, if the right one is z, go back. If the next one is also z, go back. And if p is less than 0, that means I have to increase the size. Yes, and size plus 1, answer a. Yes, makes sense. Otherwise, if there is some other non-z, p is pointing to the first character that is not z. We increase that character by 1. Cool. And for p less than answer dot size, p plus plus, make answer p equals 0, equals a. This is a complicated way to go through permutations. If I were to do this now, I would just first go through like I did there here. This is very clean. This is very clean, literally very clean. Just seeing if there is the smallest one character string that does not appear. And then I would go through all the 2 character strings from AA to ZZ which do not appear, and then I would go from AAA to ZZZ of the strings which do not appear. That would be nice. Here, what I'm doing is we start with a string of size 2, but at some point we increase the size, and that is crazy. And I do not think when I was writing this code, I was even aware that we would be able to find the answer with answer string of size just 3. That is why I am like variably increasing the size. this string can go up to any size. Yep. So after this point, P is pointing to the first thing that is not Z, and if everything is Z, we increase the size and make everything equal to 1. But if there is something that is not equal to Z, we increase that by 1, and while P is smaller than answer P plus plus, what we will do is answer P equals A. Why are we putting everything else equal to A? P smaller than answer P plus plus, because P is pointing to something that is not Z. Makes sense. So we are just updating the Z. AZ, if we had something like this, we would be pointing here, and at that point, we did do this thing, and this did BZ, and we do P plus plus, and we are here, and we are putting every Z equal to A, because only then A became B. Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. That does work. But yeah, this is not very user friendly code, not very good. And I hope that helped. I think that is better. My approach is still quite complicated, like I am changing the string to integer, and then whichever first index is false, I am changing that back to character. You can work directly with characters also. That would be less complicated. Or you can just treat characters as integers, right? Like in this, I mean, if you have a character, a singular character, you can treat this as an index. If you have C is a character which has a character, just do a minus a character, and doing this, a would be correspond to 0, B would mean 1, C would mean 2, and you can index easily using this current index minus a character. And I think you know this, so that is fine. That is pretty cool. And starting this again. This thing. Okay, shit. The time complexity of this thing is kind of crazy. But I think there must be a way we can do this in linear time. In linear, or shit, maybe we first find out the n square time approach, and then we optimize the approach and make it n log n time. What I have in my mind is this. We will have a vector of the same size, and ith index, this is our dp vector, and ith index here will tell us is the whole string beginning from index 0 to the ith index. Is this a valid pattern? A valid pattern which is defined in this question. Is this a valid pattern? I think we can work with that. And let's see. There were 4 steps when we were learning about dynamic programming. There are 4. And is this a dynamic programming question? This very much feels like a dynamic programming. There were 4 steps. First is define the optimal solution that went out of screen. Second is how does it depend on the subproblems. And then the third is define solution recursively, or more like find solution recursively. And then fourth step, which we don't actually have to do, construct the solution. We just need to know if the solution exists or not. That is all we need to know. So define the optimal solution. Here, let's say this is a valid string. If this is a valid string, then when we begin with 2 must be the right, this is the rightmost index. So this cannot be length of a sequence where the sequence is on the right. So either this 2 is length of a sequence which is on the left, or this is a part of a sequence and the length is on the left. Like this 4 can act as a length, and all of this would be a part of a sequence. So there are two possibilities for this 2. Let's say this 2 is a length. In that case, these 2 would be that sequence for which 2 is a part, for which 2 is the length. And what we need to know in that case is this remaining sequence, is this sequence valid or not? That is one possibility. Other possibility would be when we are treating 2 as a part of a sequence whose length is on the left. And here we see 4 cannot act as a length, 3 can act as a length, 9, 3 cannot act as a length, 9 cannot act, 4 can act as a length for which 2 is a part of. And anything else, I think 6, 1, 2, 3. No, even 6 cannot do that. 4 is the only one which can act as the length of a sequence. Okay. Like A to Z is 0 to 25. Yes, this shit. You are doing this. That is very much complicated. This is very complicated. Shit. That is actually pretty complicated, because if you are doing this, then shit, the translation, just the translation between the strings and numbers, doing this is okay. Doing this A to Z is treated as 0 to 25. This is okay. But this is AA is a valid string. This is not a character anymore. This is a string, and you are treating a string as a number. That is a bit too much. Yeah, that is a bit too much. And 3 string characters after 702. And because if you're using this representation, you cannot even use the standard library functions for like s dot find, because what would the function look for? This is kind of crazy. Okay, so here only 4 can act as a length, and when we are treating 4 as a length, we need to see is this whole thing that is remaining on the left, is this a valid sequence? And this is a valid sequence, and this original green one is not a valid sequence. Yep, it is not a valid sequence. This red one is a valid sequence because we can treat 4 as a length. So this is dynamic programming, and that is cool. And the crazy part is that we didn't even touch these. The number of choices when we are choosing a length on the left, that is the thing which makes this question increased in time complexity. Yes. How do we? Okay. So for every current number that we are at, we will ask a question. We will say, I think a recursion would be much better here, a recursive approach, because we will not have to solve a lot of things. But still, yep, the DP state is just a singular array of size n, so we can afford to solve all of these. That is fine, but the number of subproblems that this 2 depends on is also variable. We can treat this 2 as a length. So There are two choices. Let's write them down. Choices. Choice number one, treat as a length. We can treat the current number as a length. That is one choice. Or we can treat the current number as part of a sequence. That is another choice. Now, making this choice is easy. This choice depends on a singular subproblem, which is very easy to find. But making this choice this depends on a lot of subproblems, and just to find the subproblems on which this choice depends on is linear, and that is bad because we will have to make these choices for all of the elements, and making this choice for all of the elements means if we make the second choice, we will have to see uh, we will have to find all of the subproblems for on which this second choice depends on, and that is linear. So the time complexity would be n square, which is not bad, which is very bad. What Which is bad? Yes, that is bad. Maybe we can do something like what we do in longest increasing subsequence. There also the normal time complex and the normal time complexity, the noob time complexity is n square, but using some optimization we can fix that and we can bring it down to n log n. But can we do something similar here? That would be nice if we could. When we do make this second choice, our answer, when we do go with this second choice, our answer, what are the possible subproblems on which our answer can depend? Like this. Wait, shit. Nope. We can make a linear pass through all the numbers and we can no shit. We can actually do this. We can actually do this. Okay, this number can act as a valid subproblem choice for the second part for this sequence only. So we can make a linear pass and we can kind of like push forward DP. It would be much better if I write the code for this. And shit, I think we got this. I think we got this. It's not even the correct folder. Okay, shit. I think we can do this. Hello, you are a very cool guy. I have to agree. Int n taken n, and then we have our sequence, I suppose. Yep, then we have our sequence. Vector int is size n for int reference a taken x. And now, first of all, we need a few data structures. When we make this choice, finding out the subproblems is easy. But when we make this choice, we need something like a matrix, adjacency list representation. And I think my code would be a better representation of what is going through my mind right now. vector choices size would be n and vector integer. Okay. Now we will make a similar pass from left to right through the array int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and for the current number ai. If ai, how many, if ai is acting as a length for a sequence on to the right, then there should be at least ai number of elements to the right. And how many elements are actually there? If ai, this is the required number of elements. The required number of elements is smaller or equal to the number of elements that actually are to the right, and that is n minus I minus 1. That is right. Yep, that is right. When I equals 0, we do n minus 1, and that is actually the number of elements to the right. So that is cool. And then we will say to that element that ai can act as a length for it. For example, in this 4, 4, 4 can act as a length for this number. Like if 4 is acting as a length, then that subsequence would end at this index. And 4 has index 0. Index for this would be I plus AI, right? This is the fourth number. Cool, cool. And 6, index 1, 1 plus 6, 7, index 7. This is 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 6. 6 can act as a length which ends at this number. Cool. We just do this. So what we'll do is choices I plus AI. We are saying for this AIth number, a number that can act as a length is I. Yeah. Cool. Now we can instantly find the subproblems which depend on this and find the subproblems which depend subproblems on which this choice depends. And we just have to fill this vector now. And we can use a tabular method, I think. Initially, this should be false. I think writing a recursive function for this would be much simpler than what we are doing right now. Let's go with the recursive approach because we only have 2 minutes. The time limit is 40. Right. Okay, let's go with the recursive approach. A recursive function returns Boolean vector and it is aptly named recurse. And we are asking if int I from the start till the ith sequence, is this a valid sequence? And what else does it take? It needs the original vector reference A, and it will need vector of vector integer reference choices, and we will use a memoized approach, of course, vector or maybe a const int range is 1e5 plus what is the length? Yes, we will not make this on time, but fine, at least we will make this bit set range pos, as in like, is this possible, or memo. Now if memo, shit, how do we know that this has been initialized or not? We do not know. We will have to use a vector here. Shit. Vector memo size is range, and initially everything is -1. So -1 means uninitialized, 0 means false, 1 means true. If memo I equals not equals -1, then return memo I. That just means this one has been initialized before. But if -1, then we have to initialize. Now, I, we have two choices for I. We are over the time. We have two choices for I. Treat I as a length. We can treat I as a length. I as a length on the left. If we are treating AI or as a length on the left we have I number of elements left. So if I, this is the number of elements that are on the left. If the number of elements that are on the left is greater than or equal to AI, that is, if we treat AI as a length, this is AI is the number of elements we would need on the left. Bool possible equals false initially, and P equals P or uh, recurs from I minus AI. I minus AI. If you are, this is uh, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 2. Shit. This would be valid. If I is minus 1, that would also be a valid sequence. If I equals minus 1, return, because that just means we are here, and when our vector is empty, that is, we are treating that as a valid sequence. Okay, AI minus 1 and I minus AI. If we are here, this the index is 3 and we need to start from here. So I minus AI minus 1. I minus AI, we go here, and I minus 1, we go here. Okay, so I minus AI minus 1, comma, given A, and give in the choices. Cool. And now we need to make choices. For int x in choices which can go with the index I, and p equals p or recurs I. X. X is the index, x minus 1, everything to the left. Okay, and A and choices. And we will do memo I equals p and return p. Should, I think this should work. This should work for the initial. Yeah, for the initial vector, we will say response equals recurs from index n minus 1, A and choices. If cout depending on res, if res is true, then yes, otherwise no. Or it just keeps on going and gives us some error. That is also another possibility. Okay, what went wrong? If I minus 1, if I minus 1, let's see, cout I new line or end line. CMP, we have only one test case, which is, let's say, 1 1 1 1 1 1 is like always valid. The size of first we get n, which is 2, and 1, 1. Yes, is pretty amazing. Shit. Okay. Okay. We do get yes for a lot of things. That is pretty cool. Let's not do this part and see till which n are we getting a answer. See out n. Oh, shit. Copy a paste and okay, for n equals 10, we got a yes, and yes, then yes before that, and before that we got a no. Before that we did got a no, and then after this 1, n minus 1, 0. Okay, 1. We can treat this as a separate case. If I equals, yeah, if I equals 1 or like 0, return false. But if I 0 would not be equal to minus 1, and I minus 1, I 0 minus 1 minus 2. Shit, okay. If I is not just minus 1, if I shit, this is going to, yeah, this is going to be a bit not right. This statement is cool. This statement is cool. But yeah, that is the only statement which is cool. And now we should have the correct answer. Okay, answer correct, answer accepted. That is very, very cool. And in this part, we are treating AI as part of a sequence with length on left. Select everything and copy paste, and let's see if this is working. I don't know any of this, but I'm still watching. Shit, that is kind of fine. Maybe you will get used to it. Shit, you are actually pretty cool then, I guess. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Hope this is worth your time. Shit. This is a Russian website, Code Forces by TON, the Open Network. And this website, okay. And okay, let me tell you, whenever we, great work, thank you. Whenever we see this, a human dies whenever he sees this. And you can see I have died a lot of times. Basically, a corpse right now. Shit, okay. This is not working on some test case. And yes, this is pure agony, existential angst, Kierkegaard. Okay. And yes, whenever our test case, whenever the code that we wrote does not work, thank you for believing that I'm alive. Okay. Whenever our code doesn't work for some test case, the noob thing, or not noob, but obvious thing would be to look at the test case which gave us the wrong answer. But as great, as aspiring great programmers, we have too much ego and we do not want to look at the test case which gave us the wrong answer. We want to predict, or we want to just look at our code and see which part is logically wrong. and fix that and submit again and see if it is working or not. Yeah, we just have to look at the code, just stare on this screen for a while and maybe figure out something which is wrong. If I equal, yes, this is like absolutely correct. If we only have a single number in our sequence, then no matter what we do, it is false. Answer is false. Yes. And for I equals -1, we are treating that as a reality. Yes, I less than 0. And then if we already have solved for this particular I, memo I is not equal to -1 indicating that we have not initialized or we have not found the answer for this current answer before. Yeah, if memo I is not equal to -1, which means it is either 0 or 1, we return 0 or 1, whatever it is. And then, yes, then we begin to proceed with something like this. This ain't working. Okay, here we suppose that AI is acting as a length. And if AI is acting as a length, then AI must, as a matter of fact, AI must AI must have AI number of elements on the left, and we have I number of elements on the left. So I is the number of elements we have, and AI is the number of elements we need. So if what we have, I, is smaller than or equal to what we need, then okay, let's go with this and check, does the pattern hold if we go to I minus AI minus 1, which would be the index to the left of the things which we are concerned with. And we give an A and choices and we call the same function again. Yep. But if, yeah. So we see, can AI act as a length? And we are taking or. So if, even if P is false, if this thing returns true, we will get true. So that is pretty cool. But here we are treating AI as part of a sequence with length on left. So X is going through all the things, all the indices which can act. Shit, maybe I messed up with this. How are we filling this thing? I plus AI. That is true. That is true. That is true. Okay. X is the index which X is the index which can act as a length for this ith index. That is amazing. Yes, that is that is pretty cool. And then we are asking, is the sequence on the left working or not? Let's change the range to be let's say 20 elements, and we will print the range. Shit. Yeah. Okay, there is a very stupid mistake that we have made. Are you all into programming on this channel? Yes. Or do you do other things on the channel? I just do programming. I mean, I'm looking at you like LinkedIn and it says this, I'm a learner and not just a technical learner. I have interests in direct fields like programming, physics, astronomy, value theory, epistemology, that is the study of words, okay? History, politics, theory, psychology. Okay, you are stalking me. And yes, I like to learn things. I think that is very good because I do not know what I'm going to end up doing. So having different things is pretty cool, right? So, but this channel is more focused on programming, which is the current endeavor. But I don't know what will happen on in the future. But what I do know is what happened here. Here we are changing this global variable, and yeah, each test case is just not changing this global variable. And that is wrong. Shall fill range. We need a global variable and we need to reset the global variable every time that we, yeah, that we are working with it. So let's not do this and just say vector int memo. That should be enough. And yep, learning is kind of pretty cool. Learning, assign, size, n, everything -1. And now this should promptly work. Let's see. You okay? Running. Okay, death persists. Memo dot assign n -1. Okay, where I cannot see a logical mistake with this. Yeah, a logic. I do not see a logical mistake with this. Let's see. Output memo. Shit, output memo. Wait, yes, output memo. Why? Why is memo not changing? Wait, why is it always okay? Here it is 1 1. That is nice. It is changing 1 1 -1. Yo. Well, since we are doing this, we can even say memo 0 equals false, or more like 0. And we can remove this statement. This does work, but this does not work. That is crazy. Bro, can you give me your .config files, please? Okay. github.com and vim rc. I mean, and I suppose by .config you mean my new vim configuration in Lua. Okay, I think we can look at the editorial at this point, and GitHub is not opening. This is the URL. You can go here and let me make a pull request. Git status. Git commit message. Did something. Git push origin mail, and you should have the latest things. Shit. I don't know. Internet is not working for specific sites. It is not working right now for GitHub. And if I do ping google.com, nope. Request timeout. See, 100% packages lost, even though I am able to do a stream. That is kind of crazy. I don't know why that is happening. Excalidraw is working, everything is working, except some websites, they are not working. I don't know why. Shit, that is not the solution. Emacs. It does work here, and if this one doesn't work, yeah, let's look at the editorial. Let's look at the editorial question number E in division 3. That is quite far away from our usual place. E is quite far along. Let's introduce the dynamics. dpi equals to if prefix I answer is yes. That is what we are literally doing. Okay. How do we go about this? Then in the sequence B, the numbers corresponding to the sizes of the segments the partition A from the partition A into segments will be called interesting if it is true. Okay. A number and position I in the sequence B if it is interesting on either to the left or to the right of the left segment. If it is on the left of the segment, it can only be interesting if things dpi wait, if it is to the left of the segment, yes, and this will only be true if the left segment is interesting, then dp this will be true. Okay, and if it is interesting on the right, then k and dp equals true. The answer for the whole sequence is yes if dpn equals true. Shit. Yes, we can apply this using a tabulation method, but still, I do not know why this one is wrong. We can look at it at some point. Let's get this one right. Vector and A size n for the reference x and A, C and X, take into X, and we will have our vector and dp. No, we will call it tab. We go against the convention. Okay. And initially everything is false, which it is by default. And then we will start iterating. Shit, this is very simple. Shit, the implementation for this is very simple. I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and if what we have on the left is smaller than or equal to ai. If we are so yeah, we don't have to go to, yeah, we can start from 1. If ai or tab I, let's make it boolean, that makes more sense. Everything is false initially, and tab I equals tab I minus 1. This would be the case, but we can only do this if the number of elements on the right is n minus I minus 1. That is the number of elements on the right if this thing is greater than or equal to ai. Yeah, then tab I equals tab I minus 1. If tab I minus 1 is false, then false, and if true, then true. Okay, now also if the number of elements on the left is I, if it is lower than AI, the number of elements we need on the left, I is lower than AI, then tab I equals tab I or tab I minus AI minus. But I think I'm see the mistake which we were making earlier. Yes, it is plain as day, I think. Here, the number of elements that we need, that we have, has to be greater than equal to this. I think that is the mistake. Vector in memo, we go after taking n memo dot assign gn n dot everything initially is nice. I think that might have been the mistake. Let's see. Yo, I'm just starting code forces. Any suggestions to improve rating? Yes, you well, since you are just starting, so your main goal, first of all, is to get used to the environment, right? So you do not want to solve very difficult problems at the starting. What you need is a place, a structure. What you need is a structure which can help you move forward. Shit, that was the mistake. That was the mistake. You need a structure. First of all, you need a place to look up questions, and you can use this CP31 sheet. Here you can go to rating 800 and start solving questions from this list. These are the easiest questions at a rating of 800, and do not feel bad if you are unable to solve these questions because you are just beginning. You don't even, you probably don't even know how to submit a question. So do not feel bad if you are like having difficulty with 800 rated questions, and you can use this sheet as a place to look up questions. And now you also need a place to look up theory, for which you have this Competitive Programmers Handbook by Mr. Antti Laaksonen. And here you will see, you can read this introduction, time complexity, sorting, data structure. I would suggest read data structure, sorting, time complexity, and introduction. Read at least 4 of these chapters till data structures, and that would help you. And yeah, that much would be enough to start code forces. And let's, okay, there are a lot of test cases, and that is what I thought. Our logic in this was absolutely clear. Yep, this is working. The only mistake that we did make was this thing. We wrote this as I less than equal to AI. Instead, this should have been I greater than equal to AI. And there are a lot of test cases. That is crazy. Yo, let's go. Let's go. And you can also be like candidate master in a few years, or maybe in just a year or a few months, depending on how much you work. But yeah, have confidence. Okay, there are just a lot of test cases for this one, but we gave this 1 hour and 10 minutes. But that is fine. That is fine. That is fine. Now we can actually analyze this question. And let's update this. And this took us 1 hour and 10 minutes, kind of. 1 hour, 10 minutes. Wait, no, that was this question. 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, now after solving a question, what do? We see what are the things that we have learned. So when we read this question for the first time, first of all, shit, I will have to go to the washroom. Yo, shit, on your new iPad, you just have a lot of money and you have a big heart. It looks like. Okay, I'll go to the washroom and I will be right back in a minute. And wait, if you are on your Mac, new iPad, you are not writing with your Kinesis Advantage 360 Pro keyboard, brown switch is completely wireless, I guess. I sometimes get confused or scared. Yeah, that is so bad. Or scared on watching a matrix or multi-dimensional array question. Can you suggest me what should I do? Okay, don't be scared. That is getting scared is a emotional response. It is hard to stop it from coming, but what you can do is exposure therapy. Exposure therapy, a behavior therapy, a behavior therapy technique for anxiety disorders where patients are gradually and safely exposed to feared objects, situations, or memories to reduce anxiety and distress. That is it. The thing that you are scared of, live with that thing basically so that you do not get scared anymore. You finished college, not got placed. What should I focus on, DSA or development? Well, you do not, okay, you must be under pressure to get a job, right? And in that situation, I would say, okay, now there are two perspectives to this. First of all, it could be that you want a job as quickly as you can, and in that case, you should go with development, I would say. But if you focus more on the long-term plan and you can spare a year or maybe two, but 1 year would work. If you can give 1 year to DSA and get good with computers, then focus 1 year on getting really good with DSA, and then development would just seem like child's play. So, yeah, depending on how urgent it is for you to get a job, if it is not so urgent, give as much time as you can and get very good at TSA, and then everything else would seem a bit easier, like development, and development would just seem like a 2 to 3 months job if you are really good on in DSA. But if you do not have a lot of time, then go with development. That is what I would say. And I will be right back, and you can use exposure therapy. Basically, live with the thing that you are scared of, and yeah, that is a psychological response. But if you want a more technical thing, I would say there is this matrices chapter in competitive programmers handbook which you can read. I mean, I haven't read it, but yeah, I think it is in the name, matrices. This might help. Now, yes, I'll be going to the washroom and I will be right back in a minute. I will be right back. Yo, I am totally back, and let's analyze the question that we just did. This is dynamic programming. So that is a lot of memory. And Why is it a lot of memory? Because of recursion. 13 MB. 13 MB is lot. And we can actually implement the tabulation. Okay, let's first of all implement the tabulation approach, which is in the editorial. Int n, take in n, small n, and create a vector integer size n for integer reference x in a, take in x, fill in a, and we will create our boolean vector. It will be called tab as in a table. N size would be n, and we will start iterating from I equals 1, I less than n, I plus plus, and at the end, wait, shit, let's say size is n plus 1, and tab 0 equals true when we are not considering anything at all. Yeah, and I means how many elements we are considering. Cool. How many elements we are considering? That is I. That is that is literally I. Okay. So when we are considering only one element, this current element could be a length of sequence on the left or length of sequence on the right. But when this when we are treating this as a length of a sequence and where the sequence is on the left side, shit, and I think the gestures are inverted. Yo, yeah, that is right on the screen. Shit. It is quite urgent. I have started DSA many times, but it always has been overwhelming for me. For me, development naturally becomes a second option. Can you guide me regarding DSA? Regarding DSA, okay, my perspective is like I am doing all of this DSA, getting to a rating of 2000, not because of any pressure. Because if I were in your situation, I would just break down because working hard and learning DSA is tough. DSA is tough. And if I had to study DSA in a stressful situation, then it would be very, very hard. So my approach is to study as if I am literally like a computer scientist. So when I'm reading about DSA, I would be reading as if I'm Donald Knuth. Donald Knuth is a very amazing person. So when you are reading about DSA, you should think of yourself as if you were a algorithm researcher, and that really helps if you have at the back of your mind that you are doing this current thing because you want to get a job, then it is going to be very difficult. And yeah, I do not know any other way, any other mental mindset which would help you get better at something other than this, in which you forget about the thing, why you are doing this, and you just purely focus on getting better at this thing. But this is very hard to achieve because getting a job is a like big thing. You cannot just forget about getting a job, right? But this is what you will have to do, in my opinion. And if you have any other way which can work better than this, then that would be pretty cool. But yeah, this is my opinion. You should think for while you are studying, at least you should forget about getting a job and just focus, like literally just focus on the thing that you are studying on DSA. And if you want guiding for DSA, I would normally say instead of DSA, go with competitive programming. Yeah, I would say just that, but I'm considering also your place. Should you go with competitive programming? I think you should go with competitive programming. Yeah, you can go with competitive programming, and that would be pretty cool because that will make you stronger. But that can also demotivate you completely. So only go with competitive programming if shit. Only go with competitive programming if you want to go with competitive programming. Otherwise, go with DSA. And for DSA, you can solve this roadmap, neat code IO roadmap. Hello, how are you? Hello. Yeah. So for DSA, if you just want to purely get better at DSA, then you can go to this website, neat code roadmap, and you can solve all of these questions. And like this is a two-dimensional website that is pretty cool. Look at this. But you cannot move these things. These are fixed. Nothing can be moved. Okay, and let's get back to analysis. This thing, implementing a tabular approach to our dynamic programming question. Cool. If I equals to 1, when we are only considering one element, then let's treat I have one element on the left, and if the number of elements, if the number of no, I do not have that much. I have I minus one number of elements. If this is greater than or equal to AI, the number of elements that I do need, then tab I equals tab I or tab I minus AI. 1 AI minus 1. All right. And if when we are treating AI current element as a length where the sequence is onto the right, this side. So what we need is the remaining number of elements, which is n minus I. Shit, is I minus 1 because just because I in the vector is 1 indexed and AI is 0 indexed. The number of elements on the right is greater than or equal to a I minus 1 again. If that is the case, then tab I plus a minus I equals tab I plus AI equal true, I would say. Yo, let's go. Leo Stephen Hawking. One stop place like a sheet which links from beginner to placement. Ready DSA prep other than Striver. I would say this CB31 for competitive programming, and it should I'm on like I read this word links twice as Linux. I don't know why. So one is this and another is just this shit. This one. Neetcode neetcode.io/roadmap. Yeah, you can go through this. These two are amazing. And here we are treating I'm on one. We are treating AI minus one as a length for a sequence that is on to the right. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. And at the end, see out depending on tab n when we are considering all the elements, yes or no. And hopefully, okay, uh, this is not working. For this, we do say no for this one. But why? For the third last, which is this. Cool? Yeah, cool. And this much is much better than what we wrote. Yo. And let's compare. I think this is correct. Let's compare their memory and their time. And memory is going to be better for this one because this is tabular approach. The other one was recursive. That is nice, memory wise. And also this is kind of the same representation. If ai plus I smaller than this, then this equals true, and this equals true. Yes. Okay. Maybe not so much. I minus 1 is the number of elements that we have on the left. If that is greater than or equal to the number of elements that we have right now. Something is wrong with this tabular approach. Can I get your dot files? So that is twice someone has asked for that. NVim RC. Yes, you can. And I don't know, GitHub is not working. GitHub is not working somehow. So I'll just send you the link. Vagyah Virupaksha Varman. Hello. Yeah, GitHub is not working, so you will have to make do with the link. Yeah, and also it is updated to the latest version. Okay, I will see. Let's see. The tabular approach is not working. The number of files that we have on the left is greater than or equal to the number of files that we need on the left. Then tab I, when we are considering I elements, and we are considering the ith number as a length for a sequence on the left, then a tab I or the value there. Yes, the value there. I minus ai minus 1 is get the index. Okay, I is the number of elements we are currently considering, and we remove ai minus 1 elements. And was this thing working when we had that many elements? And if yes, then yes. If no, then no. And then if n minus I, that is the number of elements on to the right, because I is the number of elements, consider the current element and all the elements to the left, and n is the total number. So total minus current, we get what is left. If that is greater than or equal to what we need, then we put that thing on to the right as true. I is what we are considering, and we can. But this only works if the thing on the left works. Hey, shit. Yes, that is very, very true. So this thing, there have to be enough elements onto the right and tab I minus 1 must also be true. In that case, we will do tab I plus AI minus 1 equals true. Should have no effect here, but should have tremendous effects here, hopefully. You welcome. Or okay, cool. Okay, running on test 1. And yes, there are a lot of test cases in this, like 70. Okay, shit. Okay, yes, this is working. This should be a bit faster than the recursive approach because literally this is just linear. We are going through the vector once. We are not even doing anything else. And while that happens, we can analyze what we have learned. And we have spent quite a bit of time on this one. We have spent 1 hour and 46 minutes. That is a lot of time. Okay, so when we saw this question for the first time, we got confused, like, what the heck, what the hell is this? But then we were able to come to the conclusion that this uses dynamic programming, and then we were also able to figure out what the choices should be in this dynamic programming. And these were the choices. Treat the current number as a length or treat the current number as a part of a sequence. But when we read the editorial afterwards, we saw that we saw that this, if these are the possible choices that we are giving to some number, finding out the subproblems can be a bit complicated. Then instead of these choices, the choices which we can go with are choices, better ones are: number 1, treat as length for a sequence on left. That is one choice. Or second, symmetric choice is treat as length for a sequence on right. And these are very easy to make, and they only depend on subproblem of smaller size. So that is pretty cool. Can you do some problems on RA? Resource acquisition is initialization. Resource initialization is acquisition, or acquisition is initialization. Memory mapped concept in CPP. It just means that, yeah, the name is kind of misleading. The main thing is whenever, like normally in normal C, if you have a function void hello, right? Normally, if you have a function and you want to have a variable length array, you would get some malloc integer pointer, like my vector equals convert into integer pointer, what convert malloc size, let's say 1E5, and you would get size into size of int if you want to get a vector of int. And this is how you work. And like, you put elements there in this vector and do everything that you have to do. But then before returning the function, you have to remember to do free my vector. If you do not do this, then you have a memory leak, my friend. And also your program might exit before this, like if you have a condition, if true or something, if like some condition, then like break or maybe throw error or something, in which case you won't be getting to the line where you are freeing your vector and you would have a memory leak. So instead, in C++, we have classes. You have classes, which that how do you define a class? My class, and you have everything by default is private in a class, and you say, let's say you have a integer pointer pnt, and this is how vector, like literally the vector class is implemented under the hood. Vector, let's create our own implementation of a vector. So this is saying vector is going to have one thing, this, and integer or size t, size, this is going to have some variables, and then public, you need battery. Public, you need to define a constructor for this vector, and there are a couple of ways to define the constructor. You can give in I, that is the number of elements that this vector is going to take, and you can define a size function for this vector, and now you can define these functions. And also, what you can do is integer reference uh, operator. This takes in I. That is one thing. And you can define these functions. What is this? This is a constructor. And let's define the implementation for this constructor. This constructor does not return anything. And now let's define its implementation. This is how you define something, some function, some method of a class outside a class using these two things. And what do you do here? Here you are treating I as size. So what you do is what do you do? This, do you have this? Let's we start redefinition of size. Constructor cannot have a return type. That is kind of nice. Vector cannot be defined in the result type of a function. Hey, what does this mean? Vector cannot be defined in the result type of a function. Constructor cannot have a return type. There is no return type. Constructor cannot have a return type. There is no return type. There is only an input type. The point that I'm getting at is normally in C, in basic C, you have something like this. Right? You have to free the pointer after using. But in C++, here, all of these elements are also on the heap. But at the end of the function, you do not have to free these things. And that is because whenever you make a class, the constructor runs automatically. But whenever that object either goes out of scope or is manually freed, there is another thing called destructor, and the destructor runs and frees the memory. Yeah, Rust is amazing. Rust is pretty cool. I don't know how to write code in Rust. I can only write hello world in Rust, but Rust is pretty cool. Yeah, the main thing is that here this space is on the heap, or in C++ terms, this space, all of these integer elements that we are storing, these are on the free store and on the heap. So normally you would have to free this when you return the function, but here you do not have to free this, because when this variable a goes out of scope, there is a function called destructor which runs destructor C++. and this destructor runs automatically and handles everything which is related to AI will replace our job. Shit, I don't even have a job right now, so I cannot say about that. But yeah, I think I will be better than AI in some ways, in the human ways. But yeah, at least I will be a very good programmer, and that would help. That would help me. I will learn all the basic things for kernel development. Shit, for kernel development. And you must know about this book, right? You do know about the dinosaur book, right? Bro is into kernel development. That is amazing. And they are changing the Linux kernel also in Rust. That is pretty cool. Shit, GitHub is not working somehow. Kernel.org, HTTP. Let's go. Git. Shit, I don't know how to see the files. Browse. Things are in Rust here, right? I don't know how to navigate in this thing. Log, stack. Yeah. Okay, they are writing the Linux kernel also in Rust. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yes, this book is just one of the best books out there. By these two, or I guess four people have written this book combined. Okay, and getting to the question, if this gets accepted, I think this will be accept. This is accepted, and look at the difference. In time, the difference is not too much, but in memory, shit. This was using 13 MBs, and this is only using 100 KB. That is a big difference. Yeah, this question was nice. This question was nice. We did this. That is pretty cool. We can move on to the next question now. We have to do at least four. I don't think we will be able to do four. It has been 2 hours already on a single question. So, meeting on the line, meeting on the line, split into two sets. Okay, meeting on the line. This sounds DP, smells DP. Let's solve this. Memory management is the big hurdle while learning kernel development. I really want to learn kernel development. Like you are writing your own kernel. What that is like the pinnacle of software development. Shit. People who write kernel, they are closer to God than to other human beings. And kernel development is amazing. You are literally telling your mouse that whenever you click this right click button, do this on the screen. That is amazing. You are literally handling everything. And do you also write things in assembly for I don't know what? This is amazing. Yeah. Kernel development is pretty cool. Kernel development. Shit. And shit, you'll get really good if you are doing kernel development. Shit. What I like measly normal human beings can do is just hope to do this. And yeah, I guess I will start this in a few months. Even this website is not opening. LFS Linux from scratch. And yeah, that I think you might have done LFS from for system calls. Shit. Sys call this and all that. Shit, that is. Wait, you have your own operating system, so you are defining the system calls. That is crazy. And not just that, but also you might also be defining your own ABI, if I'm correct. And I think no, maybe instruction set. ABI, what does ABI depends on? I think ABI depends on, first of all, of course, the processor. No, shit, I'm just messing this up. I don't know all this. I should not say. But yeah, system calls. Yeah, what I do know is if you are writing your own kernel, you must be defining system calls on your own. That is crazy level of customization. Bro is defining his own syscalls. That is crazy. And let's get to this question, and we will have a target of 40 minutes. We'll do this in 40 minutes. Cool. N people live on the coordinate line I. The ith one lives at the point X, I. They want to choose a position X0 to meet. The ith person will spend this minutes to get there, the difference. Also, ith person needs ti minutes to get dressed. So in total, he or she needs this much minutes. Here, y denotes the absolute value y. Okay, these people ask you to find a position x naught that minimizes the time in which all n people can gather at the meeting. Just choose the median. Median would work because ti is constant. It does not depend on where they have to go. This, okay, shit, this is not constant. This also depends on where they have to go. Ti plus this much. And we cannot iterate through all of these things. We need something better. No. Now I'm stuck with Nix. Nix OS. Like, bro, I upcoming Björn Straustrup. Yes, bro is upcoming Björn Straustrup. Like, I also like to develop Nix like package manager. Shit, bro is writing his own Pac-Man. That is cool. Shit. Okay, I will also be doing these things next year. Next year. Build your own X. I will be building my own X. And by X shit, I mean the GitHub repository by code crafters. And this question. We have N, then X, and then T. And I think we can just change normally when we have a question like this, when there are like when there is a number line and there are some people all over the number line. Here some dude just randomly here, I don't know why, here. And then what you need is the median. The median is the answer. Yeah, the median is the answer because the time that a person takes to get to this place is simply distance, linear distance. And if you increase this point by 1 to the right, this point, the distance, the time that it takes for this person to get here is also increased by 1. Can we achieve something similar in this case? If we can, mathematical isomorphism, if you can just convert this form into this form, then we will just have to find the median. Let's see, at least see for patterns. Let's write our function. Let's write what the normal function is. Normally, fx comma x1 comma x naught. Your normal distance function works as absolute difference of x1 minus x0. And what is the distance function? Here we have the normal function plus this shit, which makes this thing this thing is still kind of linear. Our like distance function here is a bit different, f x dash takes in x0, and yeah, this 0 equals 2 into x1 minus x0 plus yi. Let's call this I, and this is x, distance between I and x and yi. And by storing all of these integers in some different way, maybe we can do something good. Are you also into low level development? If yes, I would love to learn some topics from you. Shit. Uh, I like, I'm not fully into low level development. I've only written assembly, but I've done cheating while writing assembly because I've written assembly in ARM, and ARM assembly is good for beginning, but I didn't went to the x86, and I guess you are writing in x86. So that is already way more complicated than ARM. Yeah, but I will be going deep low level next year. For now, everything is just competitive programming. Okay, here we have this. First of all, let's sort this. These are the distances, and these are the times. So the closest one is at place 2, and his time is 1, right? Okay, like this. Then we have 4, 4. Then we have 5, 7, and 10, right? Cool. And for 2, we have 1. For 4, we have 2. And 6. For 5, we have 3. For 7, we have 5. For 10, we have 4. I think we should be able to convert these things. Change this. This is what we have. This is what we need to have. Because in a function like this, we just need to find. Yeah. Okay, what is the property of this function? The property of this function is, first of all, let's make it I and x. I minus x. Yo, no, um I thought of using local LLM. Okay, like managing a home lab and then making a virtual LLM running on a virtual environment and splitting tasks of my development and giving VM to LLM. But running a local LLM is very intensive, like it is very exhaustive. You must have hardware to do that. And if you are using LLM from some like open source LLM weights, then depending on the number of tokens, the hardware that you need would be, yeah, it would have to be very good, right? Maybe what are some DeepSeek? You can go with DeepSeek. I think Ren, WREN. Shit, Quen. Quen is also open source. I don't know completely. Maybe it is open source. I don't know. It is by Alibaba Intelligence. We have this function. We need to convert it into this function. And what is the property of this function? The property of this function is that when I change x to x plus 1, this function is, yeah, the amazing property we have with this is x plus 1 is shit. I might have increased in the direction of this or in the opposite direction. So I minus x minus 1 because yes, minus minus minus. But if we do x plus 1 here, how does our answer change? In the normal function f x plus 1, I minus x plus minus 1. That is the maximum change. The yeah, change can go up or down by 1. Let's see with this function. I x plus 1, 2 into I minus x plus minus 2 y I think, and plus y I. The answer is increasing by 1 or 2. It went below. The answer is increasing by 1 or by plus minus 2. So the graph in this case is like this, and in this case the graph is a little bit steeper because of 2. Here the change in x by 1 reflects a change in y by 2, and here the change was same, plus minus 1 plus minus 1. I think that is telling us something, that is giving us some clue. Well, by the way, this just same, so this thing does not. Wait, shit, I think we just need to find the median. Sh- I think we just need to find the median here. Here the median would be 4 or 5 is the answer. Shit, answer is 6. Answer is 6. Yes. No, we have to incorporate this. I, I think we can just literally. I think we can do 2 into AI plus t. We can store that. Let's do this. Let's do 2 into AI, 2 into AI plus ti. Here 2 into 2 plus 1, that would be 5. Then 2 into 4 plus 2, 10. 2 into 4 plus 6, 14. 2 into 5, 13. 14 plus 5, 19. 24. Now what is the median? Nah, I think we just do x ai plus yi, ai plus ti. 3, 6, 10. Shit, we didn't sort the previous thing, but okay. 3, 6, 10, 13, 14. If we sort this, 3, 6, 10, 8, 12, and 14. If we sort this, what we get is 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and that is also not good. Nope, the median is not equal to 4. The median here is which value has this value 6? The number that has the value 6 appears at location 4. Should the number with the median is 8, 8, which corresponds to this 5, 8 and 10, which is 4. Median is kind of like 9. Hello. Current rating? Yo, shit. Self things. Current rating is 14, 17, 14, 17. Yes, 14, 17, 1400. Yeah, 1400. You can take my word for that. I'm 1500. Bro is much better. Do you know how many companies use AI to make their workflow more fast? I do not know. For that, looking for referral. Tier 1 IIT. Old IIT. Shit. Wait. Okay, you are looking for a referral. You are in this call. You are in IIT. I am in a tier 3 college where I don't even go. So I don't know. I won't be able to give you a referral. I guess I don't even have a job. I'm just learning here with the camera on. And this is the question that we are doing right now. Code forces, problem is, yep, meeting on the line. And what I have come up with is this is the general distance formula. And for x plus 1, the formula changes linearly. But how does the formula change here? This is a nice question. Formula here changes twice. Let's just do that. 2, 5, 2 into 4 plus 2, 10, 2 into 4 plus 6, 14, 2 into 5, 10, 13, 2 into 7, 14, plus 5, 14 plus 5, 19, 24. And if we do sort this thing, we will see that the median lies here, which is wrong. Yeah, median lies here at like 13 or 14, and 13 is corresponds to this value 5, and 14 corresponds to this value 4, but the actual answer is 6. Like median should be kind of here. Do you have the question right? The question is correct. Wait, we can go 0.5. That is crazy. Yo, shit, third year without intern. From how long you doing CP? At this point, I started in June, July, start of July, or maybe June, end of June. Yeah, July, start of July. I figured out that AI cannot automate large chunk of code, but you can split the code and give I one subcode, peak efficiency subcode to AI. After all the subcode are done, then we can integrate those. Is this good idea? I mean, when you are optimizing a subcode, you should also have, like as a human being, you should also have in your mind that this subcode should also be optimized, not just locally, but this is going to be integrated with some bigger code, with some bigger code base. And if you have that information, that might be helpful, but we will have to try and test this approach. We cannot make theories. I think, yeah, this is like greedy algorithm for figuring out things. And this might not create the most optimal code, but this will, I think this might create optimal code. Yeah, automate. This might automate, and yeah, if the integration is good, I think this might work. And the current rating is peak efficiency. Current rating I have is 1400. It's 1400, 17 something, 17. And this is not working for this question. This is the question that we are trying to solve right now. We have one guy who lives at place 0 and time taken for by this guy is going to be 3. We say do not go anywhere. That is okay. When we have 2 people, then the answer is going to be the biggest and the smallest. Add them and divided by 2. Answer is going to be 2. 2. And here also, if this is nothing, then take the biggest. Is it the biggest? Average. I mean, normally when there is no cost for going over, like when there is no function like this, in that case, the answer is just the median. But that is not the case here. Here median is 2. Here median is 2.5. Here median is 2. Here we have something strange. Here in the fifth example, the third last, we say 1. Go at place 1. Let's work with this. Go at place 1. I advise you to be honest during, yes, ha, yes, I am honest. Trust me, your rating would be very low for 7 to 8 months. Then suddenly it will increase. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yes, I do understand. Okay, yes, you have said it twice. I understand. I understand. I mean, okay, maybe someone can say from the chat, I solve questions here on the stream and I struggle a lot. But yeah, eventually we do figure out a way to solve a question. And for this also, we will figure out a way. Because what is the point if we are cheating, to literally say it? What is the point? There is no point in cheating. Like, no, there is no point in cheating. Should there is a very amazing line in Fight Club, which I will not say right here. Bus line, the line in the bus. Uh, this one. I hope you can read this. I will not read it out loud. So yeah, cheating is like this. You feel like you are improving, but actually you are not. Struggle is the best way to learn. Yes, resistance, error is where the learning happens. Cheating is just self-delusion. Uh, Here, The smallest answer can be 1. Shit, binary search. Wait, is it binary search? By shit, I think it might be actually binary search. The answer, I think the curve would be like this, or maybe it could also be like this. We need the smallest point. Hmm, hmm. We need the smallest point. The smallest point. Yeah, the curve is not monotonous. Even if the curve was something like this, it would work. But wait, shit. The curve actually is like this. No, yes, the curve is like this. I think the curve is actually like this. If we are like, this is the x place, and we have a function here, and this function fx takes in x as the starting point and gives the total like cost of choosing x, and this is variable x. So we can apply binary search here. If how we apply binary search on x and on x minus 1, and if x minus 1 is higher than x, we go to the right. Then if x minus 1 is smaller than x, we go to the left, and eventually we should reach here, and this will take log n time, and each function call to fx takes n time. So the total time complexity would be n log n. And the big gamble here is this supposition that the function is like this, a u. If the function is not like this, then answer would not work. I got into kernel dev because of Linux rising. Shit, what is rising? I think I've heard that term, rising. After I got into Vim, bro is into Vim, the Primogen, and then learning Unix command shell prompting, and then bash and ZSH scripting, and this is how I got interested into kernel development. Shit. Bro is walking on the path I want to walk on, and you must also have read this. Understanding Linux or the Linux command line, right? You must have gone through this book, like I suppose, I don't know. All of this is amazing. And there is also Linux Bible PDF. Yes, just open the PDF. It is not working. Yeah, yeah. This is the book. Yeah, you are doing amazing. You are doing amazing things. Okay, I will also join you next year. Next year, I will be joining you, and let's do amazing things together. And yeah, I read Unix from BSD, Berkeley Software Distribution, OpenBSD. Shit. From book BSD. There's a book by BSD on Linux, Berkeley Software Distribution. Unix, BSD books. Yes, shit. I don't know. Some websites are just not opening, Amazon included. Yeah. And getting back to this question, let's go forward it on the book website. BSD, Unix, ah, DBSD, Unix, BSD. Okay, this one is working. That is cool. New to FreeBSD. Yeah, I think this Unix FreeBSD. Yo, documentation, handbook. There is a handbook for this. Yeah, websites are not working. This one is working. That is cool. Single HTML page for everything. That is the one sitting read. Do this before bed. Yeah, you can go through this before bed. Yeah, that is small enough. That's cool. That is cool. That is like actually pretty cool. And meeting on the line. Shit, before moving forward with the implementation, I would have to go to the washroom. Pretty urgent. You are totally back. And shit, thank you. People stayed here while I was gone. That is crazy. Okay, meeting on the line. So what we are going with is we are supposing that the graph is like this, right? And we will find the smallest point here. This is binary search. A bit different than the normal binary search. We will find the mid value for L and R, and we will also call the function for m minus 1, and we will have two conditions. That would be if f mm, m minus 1 is greater than f m, then we will move our left limit, left equals m, and if this is like the opposite is true, or maybe even same. Yeah, if they are same, then we are where we want to be. But if m is greater than f m minus 1, then we move our right limit. Right limit equals m. Cool. Let's do this. Implement this. Shit. And this is just the second question for the day, which is very bad. Into reference x and a, c and x, and okay. And what do we need? Yeah, binary search. And maybe we don't even have to do this. No, we will have to do this. No, 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 no. Should I think there are a couple of optimizations we can make. One is instead when we are one is in the implementation of this fx function, it tells us what the cost would be if we are going with x. I think we can make it not just constant time but instant time. Yes. For tx, no matter where we are going, t is always going to be added to the answer. The answer is this is the only variable thing that is being added. So yes, that is the shit. That is literally the only variable thing. We don't even Also, the ith person needs ti minutes to get dressed. So in total, he or she will need ti plus this minutes. They ask you to find a position that minimizes the time in which all people can gather in the at the meeting place. Okay, shit. I misread the question. Ti is constant. Ti is constant, and this function is also one. Here, ERX values can go up to 10 power 8. I think we can just run a loop from 0 to 10 power 8 and we will be able to find the cost instantly. Brute force, basically. I think brute force will work. A lot of people don't know or interested to start a career in level development. There is a lot of get here. What do you think? Wait, I was thinking about learning low level, not as a career, but as just because I don't know about low level things. So if I can get a career in low level, I will go there because it is low level. You feel like amazing things. So if you have time, try solving doing at Coder beginner contest 189 problem C. The problem name is Mandarin oranges. Let's do that after this one. And I think we can just brute force this. I think we can just brute force this. Yeah, we can just brute force it. Long t equals 0. And for int I equals 0, I less than n I plus c plus equals c. And yeah, we can just brute force for int I. L is min minimum element in a dot sort a dot begin and a dot end. No, we do need that. If we have chosen a X, you will reach out, will reach to you after I learn all the basic things. Shit, you are into kernel development. Can do projects like building utility software for my Vedic OS. Okay, that is the name of your operating system. Shit, yes, sure, sure, yes, sure. We can do projects together. Like also, I also want to get to know basic things, right? First, I want to just go through LFS project. That would, I think, basically that would be enough to make you stand on your own legs. Going through the LFS once would be enough. And here, let's find a faster implementation of the fx function and stop yapping too much. Fx would be summation of ti plus x I minus x naught, and this is like this. And yes, we can just take this out, like constant. So summation ti plus summation this xi minus a constant. This is constant, and this is the thing that is changing. I goes from 0 to n minus 1, and we can implement this. But the problem with this is this thing seems constant. All n people can gather. Okay, so shit, we just need to not just, we need to find out the maximum of this value. That that is the number that we are trying to minimize. Yes, okay, so we have ti plus xi minus some constant x naught. We have this, and what we need to minimize is the maximum of this value. I goes from 0 to n minus 1. We need to minimize the maximum of this value. Wait, this is constant, so we want to make this as small as possible. We want to minimize the maximum value. And can we can brute force? I don't think there will be a direct formula. Go right, do right, gate, yes, no. Is it writing gate, or will gate help in my career? Wait, what? Right gate, yes, no. Shit, are you writing some HDL right here? Wait, what is gate? Is it a HDL, hardware description language, from UP? I am from like from up exam. Ah, shit, the gate exam. Do right gate, yes or no? Is it okay? Share. You're not writing HDL. You are just asking a question. Opinion. You said writing, so yeah. Will gate help in my career? I think it will, because you will get a master's degree from a good college. But learning wise, I think you are already on the right path. Learning wise, you are into kernel development. So you are overthinking for a simple thing. Overthinking for this. No, I think this is what we need to do. Meeting on the line. We need to minimize this value, right? If we go and see the answer for this one, answer for this is 1. Okay, possibly the answer can be 1, 2, and 3. Let's find the fx values for all of these. For f1 value would be 4 plus 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. That is like 4. So here answer is 10. But for 2, we have 2. Shit. We have to find the maximum value. Maximum value is 4 here. So here maximum value is 4. Here the maximum value is 4 plus 1, 5. 5 is one value, another is 1, and another is 3. Here 5 is the maximum value. And here when f3, we have 6, comma 2, comma 2. And here the maximum value is 6. So this one is the one that we go with, because if you are trying to like optimize the sum, then here the sum is 10, here the sum is 8, and here the sum is also 10. So you would have gone with this, but no, we went with this because we are trying to minimize the maximum value. Good gate. Ah, I'm learning and working a lot. That is good. But I feel I am good to nothing. That is a nice feeling to have when you are growing, but you don't, I mean, it doesn't feel good, but you are actually growing, objectively speaking. How much C++ should I know before doing DSA and solving problems? No amount of C++ would be enough. Like, yeah, the approach should not be like this. Hello, Paul himself, you have been here before. Do not think about getting yourself ready before solving DSA and before solving problems. Uh, Shit. Okay, let me look at that. Your problem, and time is ticking here also. Just start solving problems and improve your C while you are solving problems. And let's look at ABC contest problem. Where is yeah, contest 189 problem C. At coders company. Shit, is this working? I don't know. A lot of websites are not working today. They just don't open. Let me use Chrome. It is opening. Um, okay, yeah, they are working on Chrome, but they are not opening on Brave somehow. I don't know. How do you see a contest in this contest number 189? Hello, I was able to solve A of last division to contests. I was feeling I am improving. That is pretty cool. I see this, my mind goes blank. See what? What should I do now? Just keep solving questions. Contest name. Wait. Yeah, just keep solving more questions and see after it. 90. Shit, that is fast, better. Balls and boxes. Yo, shit. Berserk. It is opening, I guess. It is ARC. It is a regular contest, not beginner contest. I don't know what the naming convention is. Can you just, okay, shit, you cannot send the link. That is crazy. Can you maybe send the part that is here, this part, from contest till the whole thing at the end? Like, not the full link, but beginning from here, all of this. Can you send this? Like, for the correct one, for the correct contest. On here is the name, the first link. This is not opening. Contest EBC at beginner, at coders beginner contest. that does happen. Wait, dot jp. Shit. This is just not opening, not working. As funktioniert. I also have Safari, maybe Safari. I think browser is not the thing that is wrong. Yeah. Is your ad coder working? Linux kernel map. If I see this, my mind goes blank. What do you mean by the Linux kernel map? And yeah, this is just happening for me. A lot of other websites are now also not opening. Yeah, like GitHub is also not working. I guess something is wrong. The Linux kernel map. And if I click on this will not work. Shit, this does work. At least that is nice. Hmm, this is simple enough. Shit, that is these are links. That is so good. That is so good. This is very helpful. Human interfaces, network sockets, and these are layers. And on the bottom we have drivers, physical memory, CPU specific. Shit, this is so good. This is good. 2007. This is good. Yes, ad coder is just not working for me. I don't know why. It doesn't work. It's simple enough. Scheduler, task, struct. Shit, that is all cool, but okay, let's focus. We need to find the minimum value. I think the earlier approach of this is good. Shit, since we want to find the minimum, can we find minimum quickly, like constant time? Arc browser. It has been acquired by someone else. Yes, I'm watching kernel stuff, and our friend Verman here is like developing a kernel, is into the kernel development, and that is cool. And you can learn a lot from him, right? And yes, you can learn a lot from him. You should learn a lot from him. He's also very nice. He is not being obnoxious. Obnoxious is the word. He's not being, yeah, obnoxious. Let's go with obnoxious. Yeah, he's being very nice. He's talking about all these amazing kernel things, and he's not flexing his keyboard or his knowledge or his skills. That is pretty nice. Okay. But shit, we cannot iterate. Here we are using a very like specific answer, 2.5. So we will need, shit, got two brains. Nah, no, I feel targeted. Shit, bro is leaving, he's feeling targeted. Okay, my bad. No, 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 that is wrong. That is wrong. At least, okay, that is the lower limit. That is the lower limit. I guess, yeah, that is the lower limit. And for normal devs, that is the upper limit. Shit. A lot of bad things have been said. Let's read the editorial now. Meet on the line. This was just question 2, question B on a contest. Uh, okay, I feel bad now. I feel guilty. Shit. There are many solutions to this problem. Here are two of them. Just like the lower limit is 2 brain cells. Let people be able to meet in time t. Then they could meet in time t plus omega, where omega greater than equal to 0. So we find t by binary search. Can all the people meet in time t? Shit, that is a much better question than saying, is this the smallest time? Shit, bro sent a link and it is gone now. That is very cool. Shit, that is a much better question. Binary search. I thought this might use binary search. Okay, so we have time axis here, and we are saying, is everyone able to meet at this time? And yeah, at every time, answer is initially false, 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 and at some point, the time would be so big that everyone would be able to meet at that time. And how do we return the answer with that time? It will take log n time to find the smallest time, and with the smallest time, we will find the place where everyone would have to go in that time. What is the furthest that a person can go in that time? How much questions have you solved till now? Shit, I have solved only one question today. Today has been a yapology session more than a problem solving session. And yes, I would have to. That is fine. You are feeling targeted. You have the money. You are capitalist. You came here with your new iPad. Let people be able to meet in time t. Then this, okay, we can find t with binary search. We can do that. It remains to learn how to check whether people can come from for a specific time, can meet for a specific time. To do this, the ith person find keep finding the segments and then keep taking the intersection of all those segments, and that would be any number in that segment would be the answer. Okay, okay. And let's actually do this. C in X, Yes, probably obnoxious was the wrong word. Shit, why am I still thinking about it? Obnoxious was the wrong word. For int reference x and t, c and x and t, what is the lower limit of time? Int L equals this, and the maximum limit of time would be, let's say, int max, because it doesn't really matter. So answer is always false for, but where are they going to meet is the question. Yes, the yes, whenever okay, let's write a function. Boolean function is pause for int t for people to meet with this time vector int reference a and vector int reference t. Return true at the end, but before that we'll have to do a lot of things. Before that we will take segment left and right. We will initialize how much can the current person go with this time limit restraint. Yeah. If t, the given time, is small, we don't have to sort a, we can just do it like this. If t is smaller than t0, okay, shit, these both of these are t, that is wrong. If x, the time given, is smaller than the time needed for t0, then this guy won't be able to go anywhere. Then return false. Otherwise, left limit, the leftmost place that this person can go to would be their coordinate a0 minus the remaining time x minus t0. And the rightmost place this person can go to their current position plus x minus t0. And we'll keep moving, going through the people indices, and we will keep taking the like intersection, and if at any point intersection goes smaller, like the length of the intersection becomes 0 or smaller than that, then yeah, we will return false. Int I equals 1, I less than n, where int n equals a dot size I plus plus. Now the same thing for the current person. If okay, shit, we can literally initialize this to 0, left limit to 0, and int r equals int max, as in like max where stopping. N is 0, cool. Reduce this if the current time needed for this person to get ready is greater than the time given, then return false. But if not, then and current left equals current left or left equals maximum of current value of L, or the most that this guy can go left, which would be A I A I A I wait yes, AI minus Ti minus X, and R would also be updated. R would be minimum of R comma AI plus Ti minus X, where Ti minus X is the time that is left after this person gets ready in time Ti. And if the range, if R smaller than or equal to L, if R smaller than L, but equal to and equal to, return false. If R is smaller than L. But if L and R are smaller, then they would be able to meet at that place, wherever it is. Yeah, let's go with this. L is always false, R is always right. So while R minus L greater than 1 and M equals L plus R minus L divided by 2. Cool. If false is false, if is possible with this time M, A and T. If it is possible, then R equals M. Otherwise, L equals M. And let's see the time in which this is actually possible. The smallest time, this is going to see here. I just came across a fact that more than 4.5 billion devs viewed how to send a diff on Stack Overflow. Wait, a fact that more than 4.5 million devs viewed how to center a dev on Stack Overflow. That is a very like common problem, I guess. Yes, it is a very common problem, so they do look it up. But also, they wouldn't have to look it up if they knew the basics. Well, yeah, if they knew the basics or how things work internally, they wouldn't have to look it up. Hmm. 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 Shit. Equals maximum and right limit equals minimum. Yes. Let's use long. And if we are using long, we will have to change all of this to long, because we are operating at the very limit. Okay, shit. It still doesn't work. In use K, I did around 50 questions and at 900 rating, and should I go for CP full time? Yeah, you can go for CP full time. Like there is nothing bad, or maybe it is because people hate CSS. People, yes, people hate CSS. Or if they hate CSS, they can go with Dreamweaver. And yes, you can go with CP full time. That would be pretty cool. BTech graduate as OG as of now. Okay, if you are a BTech graduate now, what is your rating on CF? 1400. Chandrayaan, Chaitanya. Shit, my bad. Yes, if you are a BTech graduate, depends on your position. If you want to get a job right now, like pretty urgently, then you should maybe go with dev. Okay, you cannot send, I don't know why, moderation activity. Y- Maybe now you can send links, or you can also join the Discord and you can send links there. That was pretty late, but yeah, still. And CP is just overall going to make you very good at programming in general. So you can go with CP. And yes, I'm literally doing a lot of yapology today. With bro is doing Android development and Flutter, I guess, with in Neovim C++ with his Kinesis keyboard, Advantage Pro. That is crazy. CP in C. No, s- no, no, you do not want to do CP in C, in not basic C, because you need vectors and all of the libraries. No, you do not want to handle pointers. So while you are thinking of a like 2000 rated problem, you do not want to handle pointers. This is not working. This is not working. Why are we not getting here? Ti is never going to be very big, bigger than x. Not like when x is literally int max. So Ti will not be bigger than that. So that is not the thing. And here L initially is 0. And then we do AI minus big number. And we'll get 0 here. And here we are adding to AI. So x minus Ti, not Ti minus x. This should be better than before, and this is better than before, much better than before. But this is also wrong. This is also wrong for the first one. No, wait, this is actually correct. One, this is actually correct. This is correct. This is correct. This is correct. This is correct. We have the time, and all we have to do is with this given time, we have to find out the range. Yes, L equals 0, R equals int max, and we'll just do this. Right? and left, right as in like Reich, Third Reich, and here right smaller than left. Wait, we do not return. We are like no, no, we don't. This will never occur. Next, long equals no, this will also not occur if we ever have, yeah, C out left or C out left plus right by. Shit. Okay, okay. We can make this a float and okay, AC accepted. That works. Also, I do 1400 rated questions A to D, but contests get the best out of me. Wait, getting the best out of me, you mean in a negative sense or like in a good sense? Okay, so I take a lot of time for figuring out solution, but I see people using basic maths to solve 1000. Should I keep practicing 1000 or should I move on to 1200? Okay, shit. I also have bad sense. So, okay, for this, you should give virtual contests more, and you do not have to give every contest that is coming out, right? You can practice and then give a contest. Even giving only one contest in a month is not bad. It is fine. This is the strategy with which I will be going from now on. I will be giving more virtual contests and less real contests to get used to the state of giving a contest. So that is for this part. And for this part, I would say, yes, I was also like yesterday figuring this out. Maybe do I solve harder problems or smaller problems because a lot of people just find good patterns for finding out answers in smaller problems. But think by solving harder problems, you will be more likely to see simple patterns in smaller problems, easier problems. So go with hard problems. Like move on to 1200 problems and above, and do not solve easier problems. Yeah. Solve harder problems. Yeah, that is it. I want to host my website to market my future project. I know HTML for my documentation and Markdown. I use for notes. Bro uses HTML for notes. Markdown for notes is nice, but HTML is crazy for notes. But don't know core web development. Can I make my own website pages for me? Yes, you can make your own website pages for yourself. Is it easy to learn web development only to develop a web page for me? Only for me? Yeah, I mean, you can go like deep dive and you can just use React for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm also learning the low level stuff not because I want a career, but I just want to learn it. And I think you can have the same attitude with web development and you can learn React. That would be pretty cool. And it is like actually pretty cool. You can do it. Or if you do not want to go into the things, maybe you can do some AI website generation thing that can also help. Or the second option is to just learn something like React and create your own website and deploy data static website. And let's submit the answer. This is working. And I think this will work. This might actually work. I saw on Twitter that Primogen like roasted up now. Shit. That I will have to watch while eating after the stream. Shit, that is crazy. I think I think he did that because of the like GitHub contributions. Uh, okay, we find it. 4 or 5 days of JS and then start with some DOM project, then React. Yo, yes, you can learn web development. It would be easy. Bro, Congo for specialist. I just saw Congo for specialist. I don't get it. I'm in my third year right now. It just started. Shit. Okay, congratulations. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this will take a getting used to. Shit. Maybe I don't deserve it. Look at this. Wrong answer. Test 2. We are finding the smallest time, which is okay to work with. And then we are seeing the limits. I think ideologically speaking, we are doing the right thing, but we are not doing the right thing in like tangible terms and like the implementation is wrong. If possible, then R equals M. If not possible, then L equals M. And we are getting the wait shit. I think we cannot left shift a float value to divide it by 2. That would be bad. That is like bad behavior. This does not work. Let's yo contest. Seems you cheated. Then no, no, no. I do not cheat. Bro, the Western people are so arrogant on us. Uh, I asked a problem in Reddit, but he responded me with arrogant. Shit, that is crazy. My rating in graph is sus. If you go to my channel instead of my Code Forces profile, look at this. Yesterday I streamed for 2.5 hours, then more than 4 hours, then 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, 5 hours on that day. And I have been at this for some time now. And I do not think you can just say that the profile is sus. You can literally see I'm working hard. Yes, same. Many working hard. I don't know. Maybe they are not working hard in the right way. You're in top 500 people in JE. A struggle to reach. Maybe you are making specialist rank a bit too much high regarded. CFID. This wait, what is this? It ain't high, but reaching in 2 months is tough. Yeah, that is the whole point. I'm showing you that you can do tough things. Uh, that is a unrated user. Is this the correct person you're talking about? They are currently 18 plus 100. Uh, not possible for T. Okay, I think you just have some idea in your okay with that. Okay, you just have some ideas in your head which are like maybe stopping you from seeing things. 215 users, 3 hours ago, bro was online, and bro has been at this since January, and bro is also specialist. Shit, maximum 1506. So you are saying this person has been at this and he is also a specialist and I am also a specialist. So how was I able to reach a specialist in 3 months? Right? I have solved these problems and he has solved 138 problems at 1400 rating. Shit, that is crazy. And 77 here. I've not solved that much problems. 1000 problems is crazy. So yeah, obviously he is not doing something in the right way. Yeah, he's not doing something right. I mean, yeah, he is not maybe working correctly. Three Easy Pieces by Richard. Okay, I will keep that in mind. I'm in some like accusations right now. Still believable and that many questions. Nah, I mean, just regarding consistency, to be honest, that user also took 3 months to reach shade. He was here. He also, so he has been stuck at specialist. First contest in January, then March, specialist in May. January, February, March, April, May. 5 months, 5 months, 4 months. Yeah. And he has been at specialist since then. He actually reached 1491. Okay, I don't even have to like address this. I don't think I have to address this issue. I think I'm already being consistent enough and working hard enough, and that is proof in itself. Yeah, I don't have to care. Yeah, I've been working hard enough. I don't have to address this. This should I just showed regarding consistency. Yep, he has been consistent. I have IOI in 7 months. So should I start CP31? Yes. Yes, you can start CP31. Yeah, you can start CP31. That would be nice. Yeah, you would be able to solve it. I have done about yeah, 261 questions in July, August, September, 3.5 months. 3.5 months. So 7 months, you would be able to solve the whole thing. Half for JE, but still fail. Yes. So I don't even have to address. So they don't, I would say, if like you are actually, if you want to know why they fail, I would say I also failed at JE only little percentile. That is why I'm in a tier 3 college. The mindset was very different. Now I am naturally curious about things, how things work. But then it was like I have to do these questions, I have to learn these concepts because I want to get main. a college which I don't even want to go to, but now currently I am curious. Shit, stream is going on there. But now I am trying to be genuinely curious about things. Seeing a tier 3 guy getting a specialist and the cheating era seems sus to me. Okay, I don't think I have to. That could be sus. I've been working hard, bro. I don't even know why I'm addressing this issue. All the best. Thank you. Otherwise, good for you if you are. Yes. I mean, what even is the point of cheating? There's literally no point. And shit, I don't do say that, look at me, I'm working very hard. But yeah, I don't like saying that because what other thing can I do? But yeah, and there's no point in cheating. See his past streams, dude. Yes. This feels like Avengers Assemble. Get him. Yes, I directly started CP31. I talked with the user. He said that he solved like 10 problems per day, which are sorted in decreasing difficulty order. Hmm. Uh, from like yesterday or day before yesterday, I also started solving 10 problems every day. And like day before yesterday, I was solving 13, oh, I think 1000 rated problems from the problem set. Yes, I was solving 1000 rated problems. I haven't even solved this one. Something went bad, but now I'll be solving 49 once. Yep. And yeah, at least 10 a day. That would make me better. And yes, you can directly start with CP31. That would be pretty nice. And 7 months, you can do the whole sheet in 7 months. IOI would be pretty cool. Easy. And shit. And the thing that I didn't like is that you said directly. mm, Okay, you didn't say, you said seems. Seems. Okay, seems is like ambiguous. Okay, so that is nice. That is nice. That is nice. I like you. That is nice. You said seems. You didn't accuse directly. Thank you. Yes, I will reach the goal. And it has been 1 hour and 30 minutes. Shit, I shouldn't waste this much time on things. Let people be able to meet in time T. Then they could meet in time. Uh-huh. This is exactly what we have done. So we can find the time T in which at least everyone is able to meet at some point. It remains to learn how to check whether people can meet for a specific time T. Yes. To do this for ith person, we can take a segment of positions that he can get into time T if T is smaller than this and the segment is empty. Otherwise, it is when do we return? Yeah, if specifically X is smaller, only then we return. Yeah. If T is smaller than Ti, then the segment is empty. Otherwise, it is Xi minus the remaining time and Xi plus the remaining time. Then people will be able to meet only if these segments intersect. Yes, intersect at a point. Like we have to take the intersection. Yes, intersection. The minimum of the right borders is greater than or equal to the maximum of the left borders. In order to find the answer by minimum t, you need to intersect these segments in the same way. Should you get a point, but due to accuracy, most likely a segment of a very small length will turn out and take any point of this intersection. This is what we have done, but I think, yeah, the idea is similar. So implementation is messed up. Lol. Need party when you reach expert. I will give you party when I reach candidate master. Expert. Shit. I want to reach candidate master. That would just fuel me a lot. He's saying real. Yeah, you do need a party. Shit. Yeah. Candidate master would be pretty cool, I think. And yes, when it is winter, I can move all of my setup in the storeroom, and there my plan is to do longer streams. I'm not studying enough right now. I will have to do longer streams, and I will be able to do that when it is winter. So after CM, I will move on to operating systems. Three easy pieces. I want to learn a lot of new things. And yes, yeah, I think I will relax. And yes, I will reach GM in a year or two. In a year or two. It would be not so much haptic as it is right now. But yeah, in 5 years, I can see myself becoming a GM or something big in code forces. If I do not die beforehand, yeah, I think I will reach GM in 5 years. 5 years is a very long time. Anything can happen in 5 years. If I do not die, I will reach GM in 5 years. And yeah, tell me that in 5 years, if I'm alive, that is. Okay, let people be able to meet in time TS. The concept is correct, but something is wrong with our implementation. This is exactly what we have done. X is the time, R is the time. L equals 0, right is int max. Or we can initialize these as a A0 minus the remaining time x minus E0 and A0 plus x minus E0. Should it still work? Why did it take 10 seconds? Like 3 seconds. Okay, a little faster. But still, this should have worked. It is not working. Then why? After CM, yes, you remember I asked for binary search on answer. And this is what you are doing is called BS on answer. Yes, I remember that. BS on answer. Like you're using a separate function to compare. Yes. And this is like a really cool trick. This is pretty cool. This is also in the handbook, CP handbook. Okay, shit. Okay, let's look at the thing which is wrong. The 36th expected this, found this. Wait, expected this and found this. They are pretty different. What was the mistake here? Shit. In test case number one, which does make sense. Shit, yes, it does make sense. Why it would fail in test case number one? Yep, binary function. Yes, on answer, CP handbook. And how much time has it been? It has been 3 hours and 40 minutes. Let's do at least this question. Shit, yes. Today we haven't done a lot of questions, which is bad. Binary search. We have finding the smallest solution. Yes. Binary search on answer. Finding the maximum value. That is cool. Binary search. Wait, shit, maybe double? Maybe if we use double, this might work. The limit. No, I don't think that is the problem. Yes, that is not the problem. Shit. No, no shit. No, I thought, yeah, left and right. We are always reducing these two things. Left is always the minimum, left is always the maximum. Yes, the current left limit, and where can this current, how much left can this current person go? That is a limit, left limit. And how much right is the minimum? Yes, minimum of all the right limits and maximum of all the left limits. That is what we do. Maybe L left plus right is getting very big, but left and right are long, so they shouldn't be getting very big. Let's say answer is left plus right divided by 2, and if left plus, and this is very bad, if left plus right is an odd number, then also let's make this double. If left plus right is a odd number, then answer plus equals 0.5. This is like not very good. It does work. This, and yes, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? I think in the, yeah, this thing, this part might be overflowing. Num as in numerator, double answer equals 0, answer plus equals double, and this is very bad. This is very bad. This is like, no, this is against programmer ethics. Yes. Hmm. Shit. Long, long, num. It's the time in which everyone is able to meet, the smallest time at which everyone is able to meet. And wait, since the time is already chosen, we can just say left. Yes, we can just say left. It's in the first test case there was 2.5, but I think this should also work. Or maybe no. Sure, okay. I'll do this problem later on my own. Yeah. We do understand the theory behind this. We just are messing up with the implementation. Yes, we are messing up quite a bit. Shit, yes. And let's see if your contest is working. Coders is working. 189. C. No, it is not working. Use Aerospace Window Manager for Mac OS Window Manager and Recast or look at this. I got it. Recast. Open Recast. Yo. Wait, what is that? Start supercharging your productivity. 9% completed. Yeah. The problem that I have with Recast is I cannot switch between desktops like this. I want something like this. Yeah. If I want to use Raycast, I can use it to switch between applications, but those applications cannot be like full websites, like in full mode. They would have to be s- like something like this. I think you get it. Aerospace, Aerospace Window Manager. Websites are not working right now. I don't know why. Nope. I will have to debug something. Window Manager for Mac was Raycast. Okay. Uh, sorry, Aerospace. Okay, cool. And yeah, things are not working. Things are not working right now. And we only did a single question today, which is terrible. And that would be the end of today's stream. If there is something you want to write in the chat, now will be the time. And I did terrible today. I only solved a single question, and also that in 1 hour and 10 minutes. There was just a lot of yapology just speaking. And I guess that would be the end of today's stream. And thank you for being here. Bye.